welcome to Hooked on Worms episode 2. My name is Kate Hunt, and this is my grandma Kelly Packer.
Hi everybody! What are we going to talk about today, Kate?
How a worm farm has been going.
Yep. So it's been a week now, right Kate?
Yeah.
And the worm farm has actually been in the basement of our house. It's a little cold here in Michigan, even for May, and so we decided to leave it inside so that the worms wouldn't get too shocked by the cold weather. Like I said in our first episode, they can live anywhere between 20 and 100 degrees, but they prefer 40 to about 70. So we've had them in the basement. Another thing that we did, do you remember what else we did, Kate, so they wouldn't escape? What did we do for a whole week?
We left on the light.
So there was a light on in the basement the entire time, and only 2 worms got out, didn't they? So we did pretty good with that, and so they're all in here. They're squirming, worming around. They're not really out right now, and that's because, Kate, if you take your little thing, you can. That's because the lid's been off for a while, and so they don't like the light. So they burrow down into the soil, which is exactly what we want them to do. So we've got a lot of worms, and they're all clumped up. So we decided we're gonna make a second tray. So remember that the first tray you make is always your feeder tray and always goes on top. So we're gonna take our feeder tray off and set it aside. I want everybody to see our worm ladder here. These are the worm castings, and on next week's episode of Hooked on Worms, we're going to plant these plants that I picked up today. There's some tomato plants and some pepper plants, and we're gonna use the worm castings for, you know what you use worm castings for? Fertilizer. So what's another word for worm castings? Worm
Poop.
So we're gonna leave that be. I believe there are some eggs in here. I'm gonna do a little bit more research about that. And here we go. We're gonna put the tray here. Kate's gonna pour a little bit of water into this peat like we did last week to just get it moist. Just pour it all in there. And then we're gonna let the water soak up. May not have had enough, so we'll just get the dry, clumpy stuff. And then we got this, Kate. You want to do that? Whoa, careful. That's not sturdy, I guess. Come on. Here, we'll do this. Ready? Come over here and we'll dump it right in. That's just more soil that we mixed up from some garden soil, and we just mixed a little bit of it together. And so there it is. We don't need to make this too deep, because what this is essentially going to be is a second home for the worms, and nobody's second home needs to be as big as their first home, do they, Kate? Does it? Okay. So we're just gonna have it be the second home. We're gonna put some of this peat here. You wanna put the wet peat in there? And we're kind of creating exactly the same environment that they have on the top. I don't have any dust, so I'm probably gonna have to go get some of that so that we can make sure they got plenty of stuff. But a lot of what's in here will fall down in there, and they'll drag it down in. So that's just the dirt, and we're going to take this one now, and we're gonna put it right on top of there, and it sits there, and the worms essentially, there's grids in there, and the worms climb up and down in between their two homes. So that's what we got. Now, what else have we been doing all week with the worms? What have we been doing? We left the light on, we took them in the house. What did we have to do to make them so what do you have to do every day so you stay alive? Yep. And what do we feed them? Here, look at the camera. What do we feed them? We feed them a bunch of different stuff, don't we?
Yeah.
And it's all composting materials. And Kate's got her little thing here. This tells us what they can eat and what they can't. So we each have little buckets at our house, and we pick out, once we eat something, we put it in the bucket. And we got some coffee grounds in here too, and then we come and feed the worms, don't we?
Yeah, we
So,
did. Me and my mom came down here and feed them some stuff on Monday.
yeah, because I was gone. So you guys had to come and feed the worms, huh? Well, that worked out well, didn't it? All right, so let's get this dug out. Do you want to do it? Remember I said we started here, so there's some compost here. Be careful of your stool, because we'll have to get a more sturdy stool. There's some compost here that's on right here. We started with this row. So there's stuff buried in there. So we're gonna make a row right here, Kate. So just take your little thing, make a row. There you go. There's probably some worms in there, but we'll just set them to the side. And then we're gonna take this compost and we're gonna dump it in. Just put it all in there. And in case you're wondering what kind of worms we have, and if you haven't seen on any of our stuff, we have red wigglers. And red wigglers are actually good for fishing, which was our purpose. And then they're also good for composting, which is another reason that we got those. There's other kinds of worms like African night crawlers that are actually used more for their castings. So some people do those and then they actually sell the castings. We didn't really know that that was a thing, so we just decided to get composting worms and fishing. So we're gonna leave this, well actually we're just gonna leave this open. The worms are gonna do their thing. Here's one right here. And then let's put this, they love the newspaper. So let's put a little bit of newspaper here. They love it, love it, love it. I did put some dryer lint in there. Some people said that works out good, and it's just composted material. I hope it doesn't do anything bad. We'll see, won't we? Okay, we got the shredded up newspaper. And then we're done with that. We're gonna put the lid on it. So we got our 2 houses. No worms have escaped down there yet, but they do like to travel. So some of them will hang in there. So they're probably a little freaked out because it's kind of cold out today. So we are actually gonna take this back into the house. Unfortunately, the weather is not cooperating with leaving things outside, including plants. And that's about it, right, Kate? Anything exciting this week that you found out? You got to do Fun Fact Friday. That was pretty cool. We've been doing pretty good, haven't we? And then, so we'll have one more installment here at our off-site location. And then on May 18th, Kate and I are gonna head up north, and we're gonna take the worm farm to its destination up north for where it's gonna be, right? Where it's gonna be a permanent worm farm, right? All right, what do you think? Tell everybody, see you next Wednesday when we'll harvest the castings, plant a couple plants, and figure out how everything's going.
Thanks for watching Hooked on Worms. Comment below all your questions. Hit subscribe. Thanks for watching. Bye.